The Sagebrush Woolies, written and illustrated by Noelia. In a small clearing at the foothills of Hick Mountain lived a farmer and his wife, his name Mike and hers Shirley. Although they had no children of their own, they were about to receive great bundles of joy. The farm was surrounded by sagebrush and legend. Nestled at the bottom of Hick Mountain was a small town called Benton City. The farmer grew onions. Nothing unordinary about that, one would think. By no means was this an ordinary farm, and things were about to change. One morning, the farmer was out working in his barn. He mixed his fertilizers as he talked to his farm animals. Oh, that would be me. Don't say it. I'm the great Christine. Achoo! Unknowing to the farmer that the bottle which contained special nectar had tipped over. It dripped into the fertilizer, and this is when the magic began. The farmer grabbed his trusty shovel and he began to dig. He paused for a moment when he noticed that the winds were changing. One by one, the transformation was taking place. Later that night, the farmer and his wife heard a loud thump. "Oh my, what could that be?" Shirley asked. The next morning, the farmer went out to work in his field. He looked around and something was different. All the onions were gone. Where could they have gone, he thought. He noticed a set of footprints on the ground. He asked his wife to come out and see what had taken place. Shirley looked around and she too was confused. "What happened?" she asked. The farmer's curiosity drove him to follow the footprints. Could this be the legendary footprints so often talked about in the surrounding areas of Benton City? He walked through the sagebrush. He searched far and wide, high and low. Knowing that the light of day would soon be gone, he decided to turn back. As he approached the farm, he could hear the beating of a drum. It got louder and louder. To his surprise, there was his wife, surrounded by what we now know as the Sagebrush Woolies. Shirley turned to Mike and said, "They have been waiting to meet you." One by one, they introduced themselves. "I'm Smarty Cass, Lexi Lex, KK, Staffy, Aroma, Skunk Egg. Howdy, I'm Ernie. By the way, you haven't met the cousins yet." It's a beautiful morning and everything is calm. Everything that is if you're not at the foothills of Hick Mountain. Lexi Lex was looking out the window at the morning dew, and she was beginning to stir. "Good morning, Lexi Lex," said Shirley. "What's so good about it?" asked Lexi Lex. "Well, today is an important day for you," she added. "Really? Tell me," Lexi Lex exclaimed. "Today we're going to celebrate your birthday," Shirley said. Lexi Lex turns around and shouts, "It's my birthday!" She then stops, turns around and asks, "Wait a minute, what's a birthday?" Shirley was about to respond when KK walked in. "KK, guess what? It's my birthday," she yelled. "Oh, I know," KK responded. "How do you know?" Lexi Lex asked. "Well, let's just say I heard it from a little birdie," she added, while rubbing her scallions. Oh, wow! I love the idea of having my own birthday, giggled Lexi Lex. KK looks on as Lexi Lex climbs into the bowl batter and asked, "Are you sure you're supposed to be in there?" "Well, not exactly, but it sure smells good," answered Lexi Lex. "I feel icky," said Lexi Lex. "Nah, although you do look like a sticky mess," she added. "Come on, Shirley's in the next room. I want to see what she's doing in there." As they walked into the next room, their eyes widened. There stood Shirley surrounded by balloons. They had never seen anything like this before. "Awesome!" they shouted. "Look, if you pull them down, they will go up," Lexi Lex shouted. "Sweet!" KK cried. Out of nowhere appeared a soaring shadow. It slid across the floor very quietly, calling out their curiosity. Lexi Lex ran out the door with KK right behind her. Smarty Cat caught the little woolies and said, "You have a party to go to. Let's go inside." "Surprise!" shouted the other woolies. Lexi Lex was really surprised and very happy to see the other woolies were at the party too. It's been a great day, and the Sagebrush Woolies were settling into their gunny sacks for an afternoon nap. Lexi Lex and KK were trying really hard to take a nap when a shadow slid across the floor very quietly. Lexi Lex ran to the window and she leaned up against the glass and pointed. "What?" asked KK. Look over there," replied Lexi Lex. Over the hill they could see a basket with a huge balloon hovering above it. "Where are you going, Lexi Lex?" KK asked. "I'm going over there to see it," she laughed. "Hold on, wait for me. I can't let you go wandering around without me." "Lexi Lex, where did you go?" KK couldn't see her. "I'm down here," she yelled. "How did you get down there so fast?" KK asked. "Well, I rolled and rolled and I rolled some more," she laughed. They were completely drawn to the huge balloon that hovered above the basket as it swayed from side to side. They climbed into the basket. As the little woolies climbed in, they accidentally kicked the weights off the basket. They found themselves lifting off the ground. They were completely airborne. Ernie noticed that the balloon was going up, and away, so he ran across the field. Then he rolled down the hill. He leaped into the basket. It was a good thing that Ernie weighed enough to bring the balloon down safely. He looked at both little woolies and said, "You have a long time to wait before you're allowed to adventure out on your own." He tucked them into their gunny sacks. Lexi Lex looked at Ernie and said, "I'm sorry I spilled out of my gunny sack." "Woolies don't spill out of their gunny sacks," he replied. "Yeah, it's like the floor jumped up and pushed me out of my gunny sack," KK added. "No, the floor doesn't jump up and push you out of your gunny sack," he replied. Gunny sacks are made to keep woolies in, and they breathe to allow the air to pass through. So when you wake up, you'll feel refreshed. Nap times are few and far between. The little Woolies found themselves at the bottom of the hill next to the pond when they discovered the rainbow fish. Before they knew it, they were in the rowboat fishing for rainbow fish. "I got one!" shouted Smarty Cass. "Reel it in!" exclaimed the little Woolies. The rainbow fish jumped up and took Skunk Egg, who was leaning too far out of the boat. "Skunk Egg is gone," said Lexi Legs. "He's gone," she repeated. The Woolies were not aware that Skunk Egg had gotten away. "I see him! I see him!" Lexi Legs shouted. "How did you get away?" she asked. "You look strange," she added. "It's easy. The fish bit my onion ring, and I squirted," replied Skunk Egg. "On your mark, get set, go!" shouted Ernie. Woolies are curious by nature, and they heard a loud crying at a distance. They ran toward the crying sound. In the ground was a little woolly. It was peeking out from the ground. The woolly was still merging, but something was wrong. The roots were not developed. This woolly had no legs or feet. It was footloose. They called for Shirley. "Shirley!" Shirley ran to their side to find out what had happened. Shirley sent Ernie to the barn to fetch a pot. Ernie raced back with the pot and shovel in hand. Shirley dug the little woolly out. "What will you name her?" asked Ernie. The woolies shouted, "Purity, because she looks like a pure onion." Shirley turned and asked the little woolies, "Where did you come from?" "Allow me to introduce myself. I am Alejandro, and I come from the ground. And I am JJ," added the little woolly. Ernie found an inner tube. "Let's roll!" shouted the little woolies. Ernie goes to the top of the hill. He rolled past the woolies, who cheered him on. The cheering turned into the caramba dance. Everybody do the caramba dance. Caramba, 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 caramba.